Welcome back to Speaking Truth to Goodness, where this season we're bringing in candidates from Portland's City Council race for in-depth and heartfelt conversations. I'm Patty Robron, hosting with my friend and friendly octogenarian leftist, Jerry Atkin, who shows up a bit late to this conversation. He catches up quick and might have become the #1 fan of this episode's guest, Kelly KJ Janes, a devoted mom, business owner, and the chair of the Foster-Powell Neighborhood Association. KJ Janes is not just running for a seat on City Council. She's deeply embedded in Portland's fabric through her neighborhood association and her own small business. KJ's campaign is fueled by a commitment to tackle the critical issues of homelessness, mental health, and public safety head-on. With her on-the-ground experience and forward-thinking policies aimed at transforming transportation, infrastructure, and neighborhood vitality, KJ envisions a more inclusive, safe, and thriving Portland for all its residents. Join us as KJ shares her journey from community activism to political candidacy, discussing how her personal and professional experiences shape her vision for a better Portland. Stay tuned as we get serious about the realities of city governance and explore KJ's plans for taking her ability to synthesize ideas to make the real work happen, from the micro level of her neighborhood association to the macro level of City Council. Here it is.
One of the things with ADHD can be short-term memory, which is part of the executive function.
Sure, that makes
It's
sense.
a convoluted thing. It comes with superpowers, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite parts.
Well, what are your superpowers?
Oh, just the ability to make connections between two disparate pieces of information that other people don't pick up on right away.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
good at just picking it up in the air.
Like synthesizing information? Would you
That's
say that?
the word that I use.
Well,
synthesize new ideas out of, yep, that's exactly right.
Awesome.
It's really cool. And it's, I, in my old corporate life, which I've been out of that life for 15 plus years, but, plus, getting old. But, in any case, in that life, I had a boss who would just take me to all the meetings, even if I had nothing to do with the project, because she liked having me in there to pick things up out of the air. And also, I have literally a beginner's mind in those meetings, right? Like I'm not endeavoring to have a beginner's mind. I do have a beginner's mind because I'm not from the project, which means I ask questions that other people might not, because of course they would know the answer to that already.
Right.
It's obvious or
they've
whatever.
They've got their built-in assumptions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And so I come in and it's like, well, forgive me, this is probably obvious, but what about blah, 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 and sometimes, that's just, okay, don't, but also sometimes it's like, oh, wow, we didn't think about it like that before.
Right. I
Yeah.
think my husband calls that bad idea guy.
That's smart, yeah.
Like, I'm going to throw something out there, and
Yep.
it might be crap, but it might
Yeah.
make y'all think of something else.
The whole point of brainstorming is to get everything out, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's like and I always tell people that work for me, during the brainstorming session, there are no bad ideas. Someone might say no, but that doesn't mean it was a bad idea. It's like
Right.
we want to get everything out on the table.
Including the bad ones.
Right.
Yeah.
We can always push those
Exactly.
aside. Like now we've acknowledged that's an idea. We don't like it.
Well, but even the bad ones, I feel like they come about because there's something about it that you're trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And so even a couple of bad ones can synthesize into something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times in my life I've said, well, I don't know about that, but it's making me think of. It's like a bad idea can be a stepping stone to a really great idea. Mm-hmm. Or just a new concept.
What's lovely about that is you're demonstrating a way of this idea that I think my kids have learned in like team project kind of stuff, which is instead of saying, yeah, but,
Right.
it's
Yes.
and. Right. And that's exactly what you're saying with
Yeah.
that.
All the time.
It's really the approach, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
But yeah, I like synthesizing ideas. What's your role? I don't know much about you.
Okay, so during the pandemic, I started helping Extinction Rebellion for climate action stuff.
Okay.
I'm kind of an artist person. I did interior design in a former life.
Okay.
And so I started doing like visual strategy stuff, you know? So it kind of morphed through Extinction Rebellion, and then we tried to create this artist group, which is where I met Jerry.
Okay.
Now the remains of that artist group are working together to serve both Extinction Rebellion and 350 PDX.
Okay.
So we have monthly art builds that we work
Cool.
together at.
Yeah.
So that came out of that group, and me and Jerry as buddies came out of that group. So he loves getting to be around my kids.
Yeah.
And we love having a grandpa figure.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that so much. I think, like, I feel we really undervalue, I mean, not to sound hokey or whatever, but we undervalue our elders as a culture.
I totally agree.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah. So along the way, Jerry and I had lots of time talking at various functions and things, and he said this phrase, speaking truth to goodness, a couple of times, and I liked that. So I was already making a kind of a silly podcast with a friend of mine, just on Anchor, a quick upload one, just to shout our inks into the world, but I had kind of learned how to do it, and so I was like, Jerry, what would you think about doing this? Because I can tell he's frustrated at the fact that he can't do more, right? Because he was in the thick of it on the lefty world in the 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, like, so he's frustrated that he's so physically limited and everything. And I was like, well, you have your voice, and I have a way to put your voice out there.
Yeah.
So
That's
I was
great.
like, what do you think?
Cool collab.
Yeah.
Last night, I was at the Braided River Gallery in Lloyd Center. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yes, I love that space.
It was
Really
the first time I had been there, because it's a number of activists from the Portland area who've been working anywhere from like 7 years to like decades, right? And more on the decade side, frankly.
Yeah.
And it was really good stuff where it's like we're going to learn from the successes and failures of the past, specifically in regards to city council. So it was really cool to hear the stories and to hear what people have been doing. So inspiring. And you know, I'm looking around this room and I'm like, God, there's so many good candidates here, you know, and several of them are from my district. And you know, I certainly don't agree with everybody across the board, but I do feel for the most part that the candidates are enthusiastic, believe in positive change, are dedicated to creating that change one way or another. Like, I would not be at all surprised to learn that all of us who, you know, whether we're elected or not, will continue to be functioning in this space. You know, we're all most of us are already doing things, right, that are related to this one way or another. And you've got teacher Tiffany, she teaches at Sunnyside Environmental School, which is where my son went to school for, we moved, he was in second grade when he started, but finished through 8th grade there. Now he goes to Benson Tech. And it's just such an amazing community, you know, with an environmental focus, place-based education. The field studies they do there are incredible. There were some years where it was literally every week they would go out into the community and study something, right? Whether it's a park or... He came home in 4th grade, 5th grade, I forget which year, and started telling me all about the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1918. And I don't know if I'm saying the right year off the top of my head, but he came home and rattled the whole thing off. They had gone downtown and gone on a tour of Chinatown and heard the history. And I was like... Yeah, see, I love the school.
Yeah, yeah.
And to have all of these things, because it's not just environmental and place-based, but it's also, there's a social justice bent to the school. And to have all of that in one school, like an institution, right? Like, you know, for me growing up, I liked all of those things and was interested in all those things, but it made me quirky. It made me different, you know. People used to say when I was in high school that I was born to the wrong era. I should have been a flower child. Like, I should have been a hippie. You know, I'm like, well, I kind of am a hippie. But...
Oh, my gosh. I went to high school in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Moved to Minneapolis and ran into a high school friend later. Found out everyone thought called me a flower child. I had no idea because I grew up in California to start.
Yep.
I had no idea. I carried all those ideals.
Yeah.
And isn't that sad that made you different? To
right?
Carry these,
why is that not just
together?
the norm?
Yes.
And that's precisely the point about Sunnyside. It's there it is the norm. It's what the teachers are telling you.
Yeah.
Right? It's not what the rebels are telling you. It's what the teachers are telling you. And so I don't know what that does psychologically to the whole concept. But as a parent, I really liked that our values as parents were reinforced by the school.
Yeah.
And frankly, I'm sure he learned more there than he would have from us because more perspective. Multiple teachers, lots of kids. Where were you in California?
San Jose.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I went to high school in San Francisco.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I went to Berkeley.
Yeah, I was in San Jose until 93, and then we moved to small town Wisconsin.
That's very different.
I appreciate it now. I appreciate having the city and rural and somewhat suburban and now very urban. I love that I've experienced all those differences and connected to people in all those places because I think they do think differently.
Literally, your life is different. I mean, you experience things differently, therefore you react to things differently. My dad was in the Air Force, and he was stationed in England when I was born. And then, in fact, I like to tell the story of my parents. Well, he was stationed in England when my mother was 5 months pregnant. And so the Air Force only allowed him to bring, I don't know, some number of pounds of stuff. And it was, in a trunk. And so they didn't have any furniture. So when she was 5 months pregnant, she was sleeping on a hardwood floor in a little tiny, townhouse in England in a little village. It was very cute. Well,
aside from the
I don't think
floor.
that sleeping on the hardwood floor was probably very cute to her, but it's a quaint story. Anywho, one of the benefits of moving around like that was meeting people in all different walks of life, We were in a small village in England, and then we moved to Virginia, but it was very brief. And actually, I feel like from my perspective, it was very similar because it was like townhomes or something all kind of together with kids, right? And, I was 4. So.
Yeah.
I was not really thinking much more about it. But then we moved to Pennsylvania, which is where both of my parents grew up.
Okay.
And outside of Philadelphia. And we rented a house from my grandmother and great-grandfather. His father-daughter co-owned a house. Mm-hmm. And we rented that from them, and that was in the middle of the woods. I was really just a woodland child, and I have friends who laugh about it. It's you just are, sometimes it's yes, you grew up in the forest, you can't help it, but
that's gotta be good for us.
I loved it, you know what I mean? It's out there digging in the dirt and whatever. Yeah. When my child was little, we lived in Brooklyn. The polar opposite, really, environmentally. But we would go to the park a lot, and I would just let him run around. And at one point, I took a picture of him, and he really does look like a chimney sweep. There's just so much dirt on his face that it's mother of the year. But I am a firm believer. All that dirt fights allergies. I think. I hope.
I agree with you. I
think it's good for you. And there's such a, and then we moved to the Bay Area, and they bought this house on the side of a hill, which was sold at a discount because of the circumstances of the people that were moving out. They were moving for work, and it was in a hurry, and they needed to go. And this was in the 80s. I mean, the market was not anywhere close to what it became. Mm-hmm. So we got this really cool house up on a hill with a view of the ocean.
Wow.
And kids would come over to play, and they'd be like, wow, you're really rich. And I'd be like, this is not computing. I grew up in the woods, and in little small suburban enclaves or whatever that were not poverty level at all, but also I never thought of myself as rich. It was just very middle ground. very middle ground. I feel like that middle ground is slipping away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everything is becoming polarized, not just our politics, but also our finances, right?
Seriously.
You can afford it or you can't. Like, there's not as much middle ground, excuse me.
No, I agree. Middle class is disappearing.
Yeah. But that was sort of where I lived for a large part of my life. And that middle ground, I mean, I think I'm probably fair to say that's still where I reside, you know. But, yeah, my father was in the Air Force. My mom was a hippie, you know, and I spent my childhood in the woods.
Awesome.
With a dog. I say I was raised by wolves. I had 2 dogs growing up, no siblings, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I had some cousins that I was pretty close to as a kid, but they didn't live near me, so it was a visiting situation.
Sure.
You know, once or twice a year. Anywho,
wow.
That's long.
No, that's great. I love that. I love, like, hearing where people come from, because, you know.
Yeah. Well, I can say this. Some of the things that I learned from this experience of moving around a lot, living with different people around, not just the U.S., but also briefly in the U.K., although obviously I was young. I've gone back to visit those folks. They're still in touch. I sort of came to the conclusion in 6th grade when we moved to California, I came to the conclusion that everybody was exactly the same and everybody was completely unique. And by that I mean everybody's got a similar set of concerns and priorities in their life, you know, their family. I mean, if you're talking kids, it's different than the adults, right? But it's humanity is humanity, right? We're all human at the end of the day. We need to eat. We need to feel loved. We need to have shelter. We need to feel connected somehow to other humans, right? And then we're all different because we define all of those things differently. I went on to study anthropology.
I love it.
So I can remember it wasn't social anthropology. It was physical anthropology. It was a physical anthropology class, and we were talking about nature versus nurture.
Ooh.
Because it was the mid-90s. It was like all the rage.
Yep.
And it was like, if you see a certain thing across various cultures, or even most cultures, that's probably human nature. But the way that it manifests in each culture is very different, and that's the nurture. And they used marriage as an example.
Okay.
The legal or religious or whatever you want to say connection between 2 or more people for the purposes of, like, building a life, raising children, managing property, managing food distribution, all of those things happen across all human cultures. But the way they're defined is wildly different from one to the next.
Okay.
Right? And so that's sort of where that nature-nurture line rests, according to my anthropology professor in 1994.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I've always been like a layperson interested in psychological and sociological and anthropological concepts. And nature versus nurture has been a good one in my head for a long time.
Very interesting.
That's such a good, like, defining line.
It helps, right?
Yeah,
it really helps. And, you know, there are exceptions to literally every rule, right? So I'm sure someone could come in and say, well, wait a minute, what about, like, these people never get married, or, you know, whatever that is. But for the most part, you know, and that you can, if you really take your time with it, you can apply it to all kinds of things. Work, you know, farming, like, you know, hunter-gatherer versus farming, agricultural, you know, all the things. Industrial, agriculture, whole nother layer.
Yeah, right.
You know, I say like I'm judgmental, and I am, but the truth of the matter is I exist in that sphere. That's how I live my life. I'm door dashing Safeway on the regular. So I'm, you know, I look at some folks who are living a life that's much closer to the ground in terms of their food, and I am envious. I don't seem to have been able to get that down in my own life. My front garden is an edible garden. My next door neighbor is an urban farmer. And I said to him, how do you feel about expanding into my garden? And he was like, seriously? And I said, yeah, sure. Just move on in. And he was like, all right. They already had fig trees and grapes and apples and, oh my gosh, so many things. And so now he's expanded into my front garden. There's arugula and squash, and there's a big sunflower, which I don't know if that's edible. But anyway, there's a big sunflower. It's cool. And there's some kale that's starting to come up, and it's nice because they're harvesting from that garden. Yeah. I'm free to do so, but I'm sort of like, I have 10 minutes until I have to go to sleep. What am I doing for dinner? Yeah, I know, right? So, especially through campaign season, I'm a busy person anyway. Yeah. I own a business, which is a web design and development agency. And then I am the president of the fundraising organization for Benson Tech, which is where my son goes to high school. Mm-hmm. And then I'm also the chair/president of my neighborhood association. And then I decided to run for city council. And when I did that, my assistant said, okay, but no mas. This is it. Now it's 4 inboxes and I'm managing. And we'd laugh about there's so many Chris's and so many Jeffs and so many Matts. And it's like you have to use last initials. And then I have 2 Chris C's. So now we're going to have to go full last name on those 2, or.
Oh my gosh.
Fortunately, those 2 guys are in different silos, I guess, for lack of a better word. And so, I can say Chris with the neighborhood association or Chris with the company, so, but anyway, it's become a lot. And so that has been my focus, and I count on my next door neighbor to make my garden edible.
That's wonderful.
It really is, because you know what? Everybody's got different skill sets.
Yes.
And that ain't mine. I mean, I wish that it was. God, I really wish there was. I'm great at baking. Really good at baking. I can make jam. I make a really mean Thanksgiving leftover pot pie in my little cast iron skillet. So good. People ask for it. It's good, So it's not like I can't contribute to that portion of life. It's just I'm not going to be the one doing the growing, probably, Well,
but we can't all do all the things.
Right.
That would be ridiculous. Of course, there's so many of us. And I just love it when someone's really all about a thing, nerdily so, we had to get a car battery or something, and there's one of those battery places, and it's that's what they do is batteries.
Right.
And there was a guy there, probably on the spectrum.
Yeah.
But holy moly, he knew his batteries. He was so fucking excited to help us get the right one, and he could tell us the nuance of our choices. And I was like, yes. Yeah. Let's empower that to happen in all the places. Like bring back the expert.
Absolutely. A place. This is not an ad, but the Do It Best hardware shop on Division.
Not a sponsor.
Every time I go there, it's somebody comes and helps me within a few minutes normally, and every time they will listen to the smallest little problem. Once my dog, God bless her, there was an underground irrigation system in my backyard that I did not know about. It was there when we moved in. I didn't know what it was. I saw there were some hoses laying around. That's why I was like, I don't know what this is. They looked like they were kind of falling apart. Didn't pay much attention. Never did I see water come out of any of it, Well, the dog discovered one of those hoses and pulled and pulled and pulled, and she pulled so hard that she broke the pipe that was under the ground connected to that hose. She's 70 pounds of muscle and enthusiasm. So that's, and I was like, are you kidding me right now? And I looked out from the kitchen door, and there's the dog looking up at me. Hi, Mom, all excited, ears up. And she's it's like a puddle. The whole backyard is a puddle. And I thought, wow, it must really be raining out there. And I turned around and I'm doing something in the kitchen. I thought, I don't hear rain. And then I went back out. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I could see that it was kind of bubbling next to one of the trees. And I thought, that's not good. I didn't have a water key. I had to go to the hardware store first to get the water key to turn the water off. Then I had to let it, and then, but for those of you at home, that's draining. It's a sound effect for the water draining. And then, sorry, I broke the fourth wall. And then I had to like look at the situation. It was like halfway under a tree root system, and it was just a pipe, and this part had broken off, and there was a little tap thing with the screw for the hose. And I just had no idea what to do. So I took the broken part down to the Do It Best hardware store on Division Street and said, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? And I explained what had happened, and he was like, this is a conundrum. And I said, it really is. And he sat with me for like 15 minutes and talked through all the possibilities and what would be easiest, what would be, you know, most efficient, and all this kind of thing. And we came up with a plan together. He sold me the things that I needed for the plan, and then he gave me a dog bone and said, this is for Annabelle as a referral fee. Annabelle's my dog. And I'm like, that's very sweet. I don't think she should be rewarded for this. And he's like, I think she should be rewarded for this. Okay, fine. But, you know, I went back and I implemented the plan we had contrived there in the store, and it worked perfectly. No more leaking. So, yeah. But it's that like someone being an expert, someone understanding how the systems work.
Yeah.
And really getting into the nitty-gritty of how to do it.
And being empowered by their employer to go that extra mile, to find its own reward in being able to provide that good of service.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. As a business owner, I always seek out people who are like that in their customer service. It boggles the mind a little bit for me to not provide that level of service. I can understand, I suppose, certain circumstances. It might not be efficient. Maybe it's a system where you need things to move quickly or something. I get that. But it really sure does make customers feel better if they feel heard and like you really listened and tried to understand what they're going through, and then provide some recommendations and maybe some options. You know, options are always nice.
Yeah. Be nice if that listening and really helping each other meet our needs happened in places other than for $200 an hour with your therapist. But, you know, maybe we could do that as humans, just saying.
Maybe we could. Wouldn't that be lovely? I don't know if you intended that to be a segue, but I will use it as one. I have to say, I'm so excited by the folks that I'm meeting on the campaign trail, as we say. I'm still adapting to using that phrase, but so many really cool candidates, smart people, dedicated people, enthusiastic people, and also all of the organizations that are hosting events to meet the candidates are themselves knee-deep in the work. You know, they're doing the work, and it's so inspiring to realize how much is going on beneath the surface. You know, on the flip side, on the campaign trail, I'm talking to voters who are just like, they've given up. They're full of negativity. I can't tell you how many times people have apologized to me for their negativity. And I'm like, hey, man, I get it. It looks like everything's gone to shit. You're going to feel bad about it, you know? But, you know, taking from that, is it the Japanese tradition of when pottery breaks, you fill the crack with a gold seal?
I'm not sure if that's, it might be China.
Well, you should look that up. One of my best friends is a potter, and she talks about stuff like that all the time. And I don't know, in any case, but that tradition of when something starts to crack, you have the opportunity to make it beautiful. And I'm excited about what I'm seeing happen in politics right now. You know, the existing council has sort of been, I mean, I don't mean this personally, but it's sort of been like a lame duck session for the last 2 years, ever since the change was voted in, right? Because as soon as the change is voted in, that's people saying, we don't like what's happening. Right? And now we got 2 years, because it's going to take 2 years to get the new system planned out and structured and all the good things, right?
Yep.
But how much of a mandate do you have in a political sense in that circumstance, right? You're of the older system. You're the one that's going out, Of course, many of them are running for office again. So
Sure. Doesn't it just give them time to devalue the power of the would-be larger council?
Yeah, potentially. I've been pretty happy with what I've seen from the Transition Advisory Committee.
Okay.
I attended a couple of listening sessions back in March, I believe. And they incorporated some of my recommendations into the final draft. I don't know. I haven't seen the actual final, so I don't know how much of it carried all the way through, but I know they sent me a draft and they said, this is our final draft. Did we capture your ideas? Your input was invaluable. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. And
Good.
Sure enough, there's some of my thoughts right there on paper. That's very cool. So I feel like, I've done my little piece already.
Yes, good.
I'm already having a little bit of influence. But the structure that I was really most concerned with is they are recommending 6 committees for city council.
Okay.
And each committee is sort of like an issues-based committee, right? Like there's one for homelessness and affordable housing, one for infrastructure and transportation, public safety and health, including mental health and addiction, on and on. And one was for good governance. And I said, I think you need to add a committee for communications. Because in the neighborhood association, I spend hundreds of dollars of my own money every single month to pay my assistant to do communications work for the neighborhood association. And I've been doing that for a year and a half now. It's underfunded. To give you a sense of it and whatever, Southeast Uplift gives a grant for communications to neighborhood associations if you apply each year. Last year it was $500. This year it was $750 for the year.
Okay.
I spend between $200 and $400 a month.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's a bare bones, holding it down situation. Like, we're not like aggressively going out and promoting things. And, we're posting a few times a week. She's monitoring the inbox to make sure that, we're hearing from people and we're not missing stuff. Doing our best, and we're getting a lot of stuff done. We're doing a lot of stuff. I mean, we're very busy as an organization. So, yeah, communications is really important. People need to understand what's happening, and if we want people to participate, they have to have a way to participate. They need to understand how to do that. And right now, that's you can submit written testimony, or you can come in on a Wednesday morning and speak for 3 minutes about something. And in my experience with that, there's minimal conversation that happens as a result of that, at least in real time. So you see folks come in and they give their testimony. Perhaps somebody from the council or the mayor will respond to it with a statement. And then it's kind of like, and next. So you're not actually taking action on any of those things necessarily.
Okay.
If they choose to pick something up and roll it into part of their agenda in the future, then that might happen. But I don't know the times that I've testified. I mean, I was invited to have a meeting with Mayor Wheeler, but it did not come back up in council and nothing happened there. So,
Okay. So they're free to not hear what we have to say, and they're free to hear it and let it pass on by.
sure.
Okay.
I mean,
I guess.
They're human, right? There's
Sure.
4 of them, 5 if you include the mayor, which I think technically he is kind of considered part of the council, and he's generally at the meeting. So 5 people managing 20 plus bureaus, plus trying to write whatever laws they want to enact, plus trying to listen to what all of us have to say on any given week, right? It's too much for that
Sure.
number of people, I think. I really am happy about the separation of powers between legislative and executive that we're going to have with the new structure.
Yep.
I think that having professionals who have worked in the area of the bureaus that they'll be managing is incredibly valuable, because otherwise it's like I get elected and all of a sudden I'm in charge of the transportation bureau, and it's like, well, I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions, but that's not where my long-term professional experience is.
Right.
in actually managing the Bureau. I can make great recommendations for potential policies. Obviously, I want to engage with the folks who are implementing to see what would work and what wouldn't as a legislator. But that's not what I've done. I haven't managed that type of work before, right? So I'm really happy that we're going to have professionals doing that, people who know what they're doing, you know. I think that makes sense. And I also like that doing that frees up city council to be far more responsive. The fact that we will have 12 counselors instead of 4. The fact that we're having districts. I know people have mixed feelings about the districts. I've heard people have mixed feelings about the number of representatives from each district. But I personally am thrilled. I just saw a graphic this morning on Instagram that shows sort of where former city councilors have lived. And like the circles were based on number of years in service and all this thing. And Southeast and East Portland are like way down here, you know, and then Southwest and Northeast, which surprised me a little bit. But those two have like the majority of city council years. And so in terms of like where those candidates live.
I know we had Sonia McKenzie here with us last time. And she pointed out that there has never been a city council member east of 82nd ever who lives east of 82nd.
Wow.
Very necessary.
That's wild. Yeah, that's wild.
Well, hi, Jerry. Welcome home.
Oops.
You know
Who's
what?
here? Oh, wait, I do.
I'm KJ.
I'm so glad.
Nice to meet you.
What's happened is I've been 10 days without hearing aids. So I can take you 12. And I never made the connection.
Yeah, no, but I hear you. I also wear hearing aids, and without the hearing aids, life is difficult.
Oh.
What? No. I just have one now, but one's better than none.
That's for sure.
Patty, hey.
Hi. We've been hanging out. It's good.
Well, yeah, and it's like Patty can't actually carry on an interview by herself.
Wait a second.
No, she's going to realize I'm completely irrelevant. She doesn't need me.
I'm sure that's not true.
Yeah.
Where were we? What are we talking about?
Get your mic in front of your face.
I'm here to drive Patty crazy. It's working. Let's talk about the neighborhood associations.
You mentioned Southeast Uplift a minute ago and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you tell her?
Tell me
Why don't
what.
you tell her?
I ran the Southeast Neighborhood Center out of that building in 1974
Oh, wow.
when those trees were little.
Not so
But what I
little
like
anymore.
the reason I say that is I think neighborhood associations are going to be key. I do not think they're prepared to be key. So I just wanted to know what your assessment was of where that structure is. It's been around a long time. Ebbs and flows, tends to be dominated by property owners. Wasn't always the case, but...
Yeah.
So what's your take on the neighborhood associations and their role?
Yeah. I have actually really been putting forth the idea that I think we should be engaging neighborhood associations a lot more than we do. Our neighborhood association is very active. We do a lot. And
Which neighborhood?
Foster-Powell.
Okay.
So
Good.
Yeah. And I'm excited. In fact, I was talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about the decriminalization of drugs and then the recriminalization of drugs that has happened as a response to that. And I knew about it because someone had come and talked to our neighborhood association about it. And I was like, see, it's a great vector for information if it's utilized correctly. But right now, it's up to the individual neighborhoods to do what they will with their associations, and that varies wildly across the city.
So my experience of neighborhood associations is exactly what you're saying. You actually are working in a functional one, which makes you great at understanding what needs to happen.
Yeah.
People who don't have that experience won't see the possibility, the potential that exists there. In my mind, it's linked to what I think is the key to everything before the election and after, which is community engagement, community organizing.
For sure.
If that piece isn't present, it won't reach its potential, or in other words, it'll fail.
Right.
So if people, so I'm gonna go do my thing. It's like people are so demoralized
Yep.
that the education necessary for this election to actually be realized, what the true reality, which will never happen before, never happen again, complete restructuring and bringing government back to the people in a powerful, amazing way.
Yeah.
Without this piece, it can't happen.
Right.
Because we're so traumatized by the local political government, it's going to be hard to get people to believe it can be different.
For sure.
So there's just a lot of testifying, witnessing, sharing enthusiasm. It's like, hello, I'm 83. How long has it been since I was excited about a local election? I don't remember.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
I think you were listening outside in the hall because this is sort of exactly what we were talking
Sorry.
about. No, it's good.
Told you I was going to be redundant. I told you. But I think it's so important. It's worth saying twice.
Yeah.
Because it's the key to everything.
Yeah.
The potential for transformation is unimaginable.
Yes.
If we actually do the work, re-energize people's faith,
Yep.
and get them to the polls. So
For sure. Well, I will tell you, a friend of mine had a birthday lunch on Saturday and gathered a handful of us. And early on, he said to the table, Kelly is running for city council. And everyone said, ooh, and started asking questions. And by the end of the lunch, one of the women looked at me and she said, you've actually made me excited to vote in the fall. And I'm not in her district, unfortunately, so she won't be voting for me, but that's okay. What matters is that people are engaged and interested. And I'm so inspired by this cohort of candidates. I can't say that every single one of us is in agreement on everything, and that's certainly not the case. But the fact that all of these people are dedicated and they've been working one way or another in their community for years now, probably most of them, and they're excited too. They see the opportunity before us. We've cracked open a shell, and now it's time to see what we can pull through.
So you all get together before you come in and agree on what to say, right?
No.
Because that's
somebody else say that?
That's another theme about the power of the process. We want an outcome, but without the outcome, all these victories, all this true organizing, connecting, networking is going on, and it will change things. Yeah. The scale of change really depends on how well we do this other part. I say we as someone who can barely walk. Yeah, but I'm doing a podcast. Oh my God.
Yeah, you are.
That's funny. Amazing. I guess I am. My excitement comes out in strange ways because I'm me. We can do this. We can do this.
We can.
It is, but another world is possible.
We are the ones we've been waiting for.
Exactly.
Aww.
Somehow we need a re-energizing the electorate campaign of sorts. It's going to happen as part of the overall process, but I think it needs to be thought about more deeply and to get people to really understand what needs to happen to activate the base to get good people elected.
Yeah.
Well, you and I were talking about communications and how you've pushed, even in the current city council, to say this is an important need.
Yeah.
And you have an assistant that you task with communications.
Yeah.
So I have also heard in these sessions that the candidates themselves are somewhat being tasked with educating the public as a part of their campaign. So what kind of initiatives are you running right now as a part of your campaign to push forward the public education of just how this even works?
Well, it's kind of interesting because as chair of the neighborhood association, the work of the neighborhood association is very highly overlapping with my campaign. I am campaigning by doing, is what I keep saying. So we had somebody come out to the neighborhood association meeting and talk to us about what is the new government structure going to look like? How is it changing? We've got somebody coming out, I believe, in September to talk to us about ranked choice voting. How does that work? What are the ways it can go sideways? How do we avoid that? Et cetera. Then we are also planning...
So good.
Yeah, we're planning a meet and greet for District 3 candidates in September, and we are in the early stages of planning that. I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like yet. I've seen some good models that I like. I was at a candidate meet and greet out in Linton a couple of months ago, and I was there for the CEI Hub. I, through the Neighborhood Association, have endorsed letters and, participated in the press conferences and all this kind of thing for that. And so I was on her radar, and she sent me an email and said, we're going to be doing this tour of the CEI Hub. Yeah, sure, I'll come out. Then right on that, after
Fabulous,
that,
man.
yeah, there was the meet and greet, and they had 5 tables, 5 District 4. It was for District 4, which is not my district. So I was like an audience member, not one of the candidates speaking. But they had 5 District 4 candidates and 5 tables, and they split the audience members up, 4 or 5 people per table, and then the candidates walked around from table to table. Every 10 minutes they would rotate. And so we got to have conversations with all of them. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. And there was nobody from Linton at my table, so she came over and she said, since we don't have anyone from Linton, would you mind taking notes and sort of being my connection person for this table? Oh, sure, no problem. So, which I loved. There are many ways that it can be done, and I don't know how many candidates we'll have at our event yet, so I don't know if it will be small enough to do something like that.
So as a person living in District 3, where might I come across the information about this? Like what are the, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I find these things out? Like, just Google it? Or,
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I didn't know it was going to happen,
Right.
where would I see it?
Well, so that's thank you for explaining exactly the problem, right? It's that we need multiple channels of communication to reach people. We use primarily social media to publicize our events, mostly Instagram and Facebook. We are a volunteer-led organization, so we do what we can. I don't have a communications chair. I was the communications chair and then moved into the role of chair/president, and nobody took communications from me. So now I'm kind of both.
Whoopee.
So, yeah, it's fun. It is fun. I mean, I enjoy both roles, but like both. It's kind of a lot. But that's all right. It needs to get done, and I'm capable of making that happen for the moment, so I'm doing it. And it's lovely that it very much feels like a situation where I'm passing, I picked up a baton from somebody else, and eventually I will pass that baton on to the next person. I was very fortunate. I stumbled into the Foster-Powell Neighborhood Association blindly, but quite happily. It's a very progressive group of people. I'm just very fortunate to live in a great neighborhood. I'm really happy.
I don't know if this idea has any reality, but I wonder if there's a way that neighborhood associations can connect with each other in some way around this election process.
Yeah, I'm collaborating with 3 other neighborhood associations around me to put on this event.
Duh. Why would I even bring it up?
Well, it's a good idea. We were saying earlier, there's no bad ideas.
So 5 minutes ago. I mean, really.
But I think this is good because if I wasn't the person making this podcast, if I was listening to it, I would be thinking, well, I have no idea. Like, are these people working together? I don't know. And as a lady living in Portland, that would make me feel better. It does make me feel better to be like, oh, there are these people working at this level really closely with all the people in all the houses, and they're working together, and they report up to this. Like, I'm not here for a big old hierarchy situation, but it's nice to know that we are connected, that we can network with ourselves.
Yeah.
We have older voters.
Like you?
Case in point, not like me, fortunately. We need a website. There needs to be a website with all campaign events for all districts.
That sure would be
available.
Nice. Yeah.
Who could do that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, if I wasn't working and running a campaign and running a neighborhood association and running a fundraising organization, I could probably do it.
Well, but it seems to me that the city should do it.
That would be lovely. I would be in full support of that.
If I were a progressive candidate of any kind, at any level, I would want people to know what's going on. I would want this to work.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that someone in the city has resources,
Yeah.
and I don't know who they are. But really, this is if you have any kind of commitment to the common good, civic well, whatever,
Yeah.
you're going to want people to be well educated. And even if you're grumpy that they're changing,
Yeah.
you're still going to want it to be. You
Still
should
need to know
still
what it's
want
going
it
to be, you know.
as well informed and good as it can. So I don't know who that would be, but
Well, were you here when we were talking about the Transition Advisory Committee, or was that right before you came in?
no. Right before I came in.
Okay, right before. So I spoke with the Transition Advisory Committee, and these are the folks who have been tasked with what will this new thing look like, and how can we set it up so that folks can start working on day one. And they've got a committee structure.
Nightmare.
Yeah, it's going to be
Nightmare.
a circus, yeah. I'm going with circus. I feel like that's a little more fun.
Nightmare.
You have a nightmare. I have a circus. It's okay.
Please don't put them together.
Yeah, right. No, goodness.
No,
Oh,
the
dear.
transition is going to be very complicated and difficult.
It
There
is.
are going to be issues, and that's
Right.
just what
That's just how it is. But so what I told them is you've got committees based on issues that you're recommending we form once we have the new city council, but we really need to have a committee that's dedicated to communications so that the people of Portland know what city council's working on. They have multiple pathways to provide input and feedback, and they know how to find those pathways. And we need to have people going out to neighborhood associations and talking about what we're doing. We need to have town halls. I mean, if we really want this government to be of, for, and by the people, we need to make it accessible of, for, and by the people. So that's my baby.
some people don't want it to be of by
Yeah,
those
well.
people. But
I'm in disagreement with them.
so, and you're in District 3? You in District 3?
I'm in District 3.
I get to vote for you.
Yay!
It's just amazing what a strong group of candidates
It's inspiring.
exist.
hmm
And, well, yeah, we got excited early, and we don't get less excited as time goes on because we meet more people like you.
Well, I'm excited because I can vote for you. Yay! Well,
So can I.
I know. That'd be great. Are you sure? I think you're in District 1.
You're right in the.
I don't want to be in District 1.
Oh.
I want to be in District 3.
I don't know where the exact cutoff is. At some point, it goes up to 82, and then at another point, it goes up to 205. So I don't
But
know.
I'm on the other side of 205.
Yeah, so you might be District 1.
I don't want to be District 1.
But you can vote for Steph.
Okay.
I really like Steph
Am I
Rowell.
really in District? This is
And
embarrassing.
Sonia McKenzie, who was here for the one you weren't here for. You can vote for her, too.
Okay.
Okay.
But I can give money, though, right?
Oh, sure.
So I have to make a list of all the people we've interviewed so I can give my $20 for
Yes,
them.
that would
I'll
be
get you a
lovely.
list.
Give me a list, not
Okay.
because long COVID, so I'm not highly functional.
Yeah, that long COVID can be a bear.
Oh, God. It's really horrible.
Yeah.
Well,
So what else do you want to talk about?
well, I think
I don't know.
I think we may not have really gotten into like your particular platform. Like you mentioned that you have a web design business, but so I'm kind of curious to see like, you know, what are the main issues that you want to address
Yeah.
for Portland? Like, what's the most important thing, and then how does that connect to your everyday
Yeah.
life right now? Or
Right.
yeah,
Well, so that's an interesting question. I feel like most of us candidates would give you the same bullet list, right? Homelessness and affordable housing, public safety and health, including mental health and addiction, infrastructure and transportation, economic and job development, environment and climate change. I'm sure that there are a few others, but this is that's the bucket we're looking at.
And when you finish that, what are you going to do?
I'll have that done by Tuesday, and then yeah, these are long-term things. Nothing is going to be done overnight, and that's one of the reasons why communications is a key part of my platform.
okay,
Because we're doing this tremendous experiment. Anything that we do legally like this is an experiment. I mean, the whole country was an experiment in the first place, which some days has better results than others. And okay, so we're trying this. we need all hands on deck. We really need people to be participating. We need people to be aware of the work that's being done, because I really don't want in 2 years, 4 years to have people just fed up. That was a failure. Nothing came of it. We didn't see any results. The results aren't going to happen overnight. The results are going to take work. And there may be some things that can happen sooner than others, but we still really need people to, the persistence will be important. And so one issue or one potential solution on the homeless front, for example, and this is an idea that I heard first from Jennifer Park, who's running in District 2, Persist with Park.
Yeah.
Big fan.
She has been here.
Yeah, she's great. So she said, what if we had a single source where you could find out where there's a shelter bed tonight, tonight. And I said, oh gosh, I'm starting to build the project plan in my mind already of how I would build that out. And, I would need your input and other people's input to know what the data sources would have to be. And we have to worry about privacy, and we have to, and she was sort of like, okay, we were at a campaign meet and greet event, and I started running with it. But that's the kind of thing where if somebody has an idea like that, and then somebody else has, the know-how of what are the components, what do we need to be looking at to make that happen, and then there's somebody else who can implement it. I mean, we will require the whole team, and
So you're you see it from a high level, and you can see how pieces need to connect.
that is how I have run my business for 14 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I want to jump in. I think this is such an important way that some people in the world think, and because it doesn't have one I do this that is recognizable as an expert in a certain thing, I feel like it gets missed. But
Yes.
it is the role and the brain that makes shit go.
You need a systems person. Yeah.
A systems person. Yes.
And I'm not the only systems person running, but I am one of them.
But that's where we get ourselves in trouble with this, one great man idea. This guy did this.
Great what?
Well, I mean, that's how we thought of it, right? One great man.
Did I hear?
I know. I'm saying old thoughts. This is old brain stuff,
Is your
right?
hearing aid working?
What did you call me? Okay.
Anyway, we need brains like yours in more teams, solving more problems. That is what I think.
Thank you.
Because we need to realize this is a team effort, and we don't have to be fighting each other. We have to be working together to make a fucking thing happen.
And we're not going to have one solution.
Exactly.
There will be multiple solutions because the issues that we are looking at they're multifaceted. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to vote for you. I might have to move. I don't know. Because here's my thinking.
Yeah.
It's like I've been lately thinking a lot about problem solving and how we go about it in an unproductive way. Force A hits Force B. Force B negotiates with Force A. Force C. It's all at this level, and there's no solution.
Right.
Wait a minute. If you step up and look at the pattern, and if you look at, the system, there's where the solution lies.
Right.
So if you try to fix it piecemeal at the bottom, it'll never work. No matter how good each thing is.
Each piece could be perfect in and of itself.
I find this to be even more reason to be excited. I completely believe that without these larger ways of thinking about it, no matter how much we care, no matter how hard we try, we're not going to be successful. And this is a gamble. This is a gamble, and it's entirely winnable, but only if we stop sort of being locked at the level of armed combat over issues,
right?
And look at, something which is actually sort of intermediary, which is thinking of, well, what if we knew where there was a bed? For a homeless person every night and knew what it was in real time. Well, you could try them, or sometimes they have a place. It's like, come on, does that solve it? Hell no. Does that mitigate it? Absolutely. Does it need to be mitigated? Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a triage situation. And each conversation I've had with someone since Jennifer put that idea in my mind,
Yeah.
the concept has grown. Somebody who works with the Home Pack, which is associated with Housing Oregon, said, okay, well, the police need to have access to that tool whenever they're on a call and they run into somebody who is homeless and in need of a bed. Portland Street Response needs to have something like this, a tool that they can just pull up on the phone and look it
I
up.
mean, they don't?
Sounds like a job for a UX designer.
I got a guy. It can't work that way in city council. That's an RFP.
That's fair.
But I certainly understand the concepts, right? And can oversee the RFP process. And then
That's valuable. That feels really valuable.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I see the value of that in the work that I do, certainly. I know that the contractors who work for me are very grateful that I run interference on all of that part of the thinking. They know that by the time the work order has come to them, that stuff has been thought through. And there are times when I need to engage with them and say, all right, we have this problem. We know what the solution should be. We want it to look like, but we need to connect the dots. How do we connect those dots? What system am I not thinking of? Everybody's got great ideas, Somebody added rehab facilities should be part of that system as well, because if someone needs to detox. Of course, there's a deflection center going in Buckman that's supposed to go live September 1st. I was just at a county meeting 2 nights ago where they were talking about that, still in the planning process. But it's an opportunity for, if you are stopped by police and you are in possession of personal use amount of drugs, and you're not breaking any other law and there is no warrant out for your arrest, you are given the option of, we can take you to jail because you're breaking the law by having that drug on your person, or we can send you to the deflection center, or take you actually to the deflection center where you will receive services. And starting next year, they're hoping to incorporate anti-opioid drugs and a whole slew of services. The first phase is much more pared down. But that's not, I don't know how it will play out. It is yet another experiment in this grand experiment of democracy, right? But it's a cool thing to see, and let's see if that helps. That would be lovely if that would help. How many people are we going to get if you can't be breaking any other law? Why would the police be engaging with you if you're not breaking any law and you're not, there's some questions there.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have the option of keeping people out of the criminal justice system when, in fact, the problem may be medical, right? I mean, if you view addiction as a medical issue, which I tend to do.
Agreed.
Who are you involving in planning? Half of the things don't work because people here plan services for people here.
Yeah.
Good ideas, good intentions, no connection to the reality.
Right.
So how do we get the people who have that experience, and there are lots of them, into the planning process? Maybe they're there, and to a certain extent, I'm sure they are. But again, the work that's done before implementing something has to be thorough.
Yes.
It has to involve the people who are going to use the services. So the work we did, all our services were worker-centered. If there's a service that's needed, look at it from the point of view of the person who's going to use it, and build it from there. Not build it here and say, here it is.
Yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a vertical system view as opposed to a horizontal systems view. But the whole thing is we need to look at not abstractly larger structures.
Right.
That could be a problem.
Yeah.
But concretely, and have people who are willing to facilitate that, who understand the process.
Right.
I'm not sure who that would be at this point, but everything is possible ultimately, but you need to have those vertical and horizontal systems have to people who really care and who really know what they're talking about. I'm just dealing with, my wife died of dementia, and I was her sole caregiver, and I have some experience. So people who are in this similar situation find that I'm more useful than people who mean well.
Sure. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grant that all the people in the system mean well, but they don't
Right.
know the rest from whatever it might be. And it's like, so we need some humility, which says, oh, there's stuff I don't know about.
Right.
How can I get that information?
Yeah. You know, it's so funny, the human ego, because not knowing something has nothing to do with your intelligence or your capabilities or anything. I mean, I suppose it could have something to do with those things, but not necessarily, and most of the time probably not. It's just lack of exposure, lack of experience, and so
Lack of access.
Yeah, for sure. And so you seek those things, you know, where do you find people who have access? Where do you find people who have experience? If I may, I will stumble down my existing analogy on this project for, you know, where is there a shelter bed tonight? There are multiple organizations that send people out to speak with folks who are living in camps and in different capacities. I mean, there's Portland Street Response, but there's also, the name escapes me at the moment, but I was part of a volunteer group to go out and count how many people are sleeping out on the streets, right? In any of those scenarios, there may be ample opportunity to say, if you had the ability to search for a shelter bed tonight, what would be important to you? And I might say, well, I can't sleep in a group environment. I can't do it. It's too traumatizing for me. Or I experienced domestic violence, and so I need to be only with people of XYZ gender. Or, you know, it needs to not be a sober situation because I'm not sober, but I would like to be in a bed. You know, those types of filters are things that can be built in. But as a homeowner who has owned a business for 14 years, I'm probably not going to think of all of the things a person might wish to filter for, right? And so it's imperative to go out and, like you said, talk to the folks who would use the system. Talk to the police. What are things that you experience? Talk to Portland Street Response. What do you experience?
You know, Sisters of the Road has been around for such a long time, and it's far more than just a cafe. And I wonder if they're feeling like they're engaged in this process because they have decades of self-help, and I mean, they're just the gold standard. If gold meant anything. But I've always found their work compelling, really compelling.
Interesting.
I would look at the whole picture and say, what groups of whatever, government, non-governmental, nonprofit, collective, whatever, that are doing really great work. Well, let's get them together and have them do best practices for us to use as the basis for thinking about this.
And also, one thing I'd like to highlight here, because I think that this might be for some folks, you know, they might say, well, I don't want to work with anybody who does blank. Fill in the blank. You know, I don't know what that might be. Or that particular organization I distrust because of this, this, and that, or I don't like the work that they've done. But the truth of the matter is we can learn from folks we disagree with.
Imagine that.
I mean, that feels obvious, but it certainly does not appear to be obvious in our political landscape today. And so I am very, you know, I said this to someone, I said, I don't want to sound pretentious, but I'm a big fan of Lincoln's, you know, cabinet of enemies or whatever it was called. You know, it's like I need to hear not just from people who agree with me, because we do not constitute the entirety of the population. And I can talk to somebody I disagree with, and it might not change anything. I might still think, okay, I'm not going to take on any of their recommendations, but they might have something to say. I feel I can almost always find common ground with someone, even if we're really in opposition on multiple points, you know. So I like to find those things, and I feel that from a big picture perspective, which seems to be my thing today, More people have buy-in if they feel they've been heard through the process. And the more people who have buy-in, the more support you have for these endeavors, the more likely you're going to get support from voters if there needs to be a ballot measure for something. And, it's building community, really.
Do you know Ibrahim Mubarak is still working in the homeless community? He actually catalyzed Dignity Village 25 years ago.
Okay.
Right to Dream 2.
Wow.
Brilliant, amazing person. If he's still in town, someone I would seek out and talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, he's, sort of figure in the national scene as well. And the best smile, and hugs good. I mean, come on.
Can't say no to a good smile and a hug.
Oh, exactly. Absolutely not.
The piece that strikes me that I want to layer on top of everything you've said about systems is the idea of being more adaptive and to build systems that aren't solid, systems that are more fluid, that can adapt to new information, because we know that's happening all the time, and we've seen our technology move faster than we can even handle, so our systems end up dragging us down because they were built to be this way and this way only. But there's the idea in technology development of agile, and I'm saying that like I know what I'm talking about, and I don't really, but I know it's a thing. And some of the project tracking methods I've employed just in my managing life stuff. So, do you see, as a technology person or web development type person, do you see either ways that we can start to do that, or ways that we can get buy-in from people to get technology and appreciate it and use it to make our systems not become old and stodgy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So agile is about managing projects in such a way that if the circumstances change, the project adapts quickly. And it's exactly what you're talking about. So you are using it correctly.
Okay.
If you think about like the 1950s, I think of a school building, and there's a structure and a hierarchy, and the kids go off to school and the dads go off to work and the moms stay at home. It's all very,
Orderly.
Yes.
Predictable.
Yes.
Yeah.
We do not live in that reality anymore at all. At all, we've got the internet, which has completely changed how we access information and how we procure things for our home, and all the things, and it allows us to come up with new ideas more quickly because we're connected to information we didn't have access to back in the day. I'm old enough to remember having to go to the library and look up the books to see what and then find the page in the book and okay, this person 22 years ago said blank, blank, blank about this. And that's the most recent book that you can find, But now I can pick up my phone and see what 73 people thought in the last minute.
She sounds like you.
Well, I'm not surprised.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, then I take it as a compliment, too. Hey.
But you know what? She has a secret weapon.
Uh-oh.
A 12-year-old and a 15-year-old.
I've got a 16-year-old, so...
Yeah, it's about the teenagers, I guess.
I'm learning so much from them.
Yeah.
I still think I have my uses, but...
Kids are great. Kids are great.
Oh, absolutely.
And so are the older folks, I mean, it's a continuum. Experience is valuable. Knowledge is valuable.
So you started a business when your child was 2.
I did.
Courage.
No, covering daycare costs. It was the beginning of that. I was going to go back.
What do we do about daycare?
Yeah. Am I being charged with daycare solutions now?
No, I'm sorry. But what I'm just saying is...
I mean, if you want me on it, I'll be on it.
There are some basic things that completely lock up a society, and the cost of daycare is one of them.
Yes, for sure.
And the absence of a national health service, so that my brilliant cordon bleu chef can't make more than $18 an hour, or he'll lose the Oregon Health Plan for his major heart conditions that he could never pay for on his own.
Yeah.
I mean, so these little things, but it's like these basically lock down a huge proportion of.
It is.
And those are not things City Council can address to a certain extent, but it needs a national system. We don't have a national way of looking at. I mean, there's people who do.
We're losing true human capacity, true human potential, because we're locking people into those systems. And these are brains and bodies that could and would contribute great things for the betterment of all of us.
Right.
And shouldn't that be the thing we prioritize no matter what we're doing?
Oh, please.
Well, I don't know. It's too fucking logical, huh?
That was humiliating. I mean, really.
To who?
Suggest a thing like that.
Awkward.
I mean, well, we should be talking about the campaign. I mean, I think these things are the critical infrastructure of what we need to build. So I don't think they're irrelevant, but there's also just this reality of, I mean, and again, I don't know what I missed. So Patty has to lead this in a good direction, which she does always.
I know. I'm so bad. I just ooh, yay, this is a fun conversation. Let's follow it where it goes.
That's what makes a podcast fun.
Turn everything
That's what I
off.
think.
Which she does with the aid of AI.
I'm in cahoots with it, aren't I?
Yes, exactly.
I like the ghost whisper.
She uses AI. Is that like VD? No, I don't think so.
Oh, I hope not.
No, those two things are not the same. Am I blushing now? I don't know why I'm blushing because I'm not 12, but
I'm blushing.
I use AI too.
Yeah.
For the
How could
Well,
you?
why not?
It's first draft land. Everything is first draft.
I convinced him.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not terribly resistant. I'm initially resistant, but as soon as I'm shown the error of my ways, I very quickly double down and fight back. No,
Yeah, there are some things I would not want AI to be handling, but first drafting my emails, I think it's sufficient. I mean,
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I'm very impressed with the responsible way in which you use AI.
Yeah.
I'm
Thanks.
genuinely impressed with you,
Oh,
actually.
thanks.
That's not a secret. I talk about you behind your back a lot.
Okay. Noted, I guess. Well, we do have a list of questions that we started this day with. I think we've kind of covered them all. I'm just going to look through. So we said, how did you get started with your neighborhood association? Oh, well,
I have a story.
You do?
Maybe that's why that question is on the list.
Okay.
Yeah. So I stumbled into the neighborhood association unawares. Apparently, I signed up on the website to volunteer at some point and promptly forgot. And then all of a sudden, one day, I received a Google document that was a sign-up sheet to provide some part of a meal for one of the shelters in the neighborhood. We have 2 shelters in our neighborhood. The neighborhood association does 2 shelter meals a month, 1 at each place. And the way it was working at the time, they had volunteers cook food at home and then deliver it to the shelter. And I kept signing up to be a cook. And they kept canceling them, like kind of last minute, because they didn't have enough volunteers to provide all the number of meals that the shelter needed for the night. And, I'm not particularly at all a religious person, but it happened on Easter Sunday. And it happened that the shelter we were cooking for that night was the family shelter, so there's kids there. And it was like, what? No, Easter Sunday. And I got upset. And so I said, can I just cook all of it? And they were like, for 140 people? And I said, yeah. And they were like, Sure. Okay. So I cooked lasagna for 140 people. Some of it was from scratch. Most of it was the Stouffer's party boxes. Because at some point I realized there's no way in hell I'm gonna be making all of this lasagna from scratch. But I cooked it all and procured salad fixings for 140 people and dessert for 140 people. And I used my parents have a condo not far from me, and I used both ovens all day, and then I recruited my teenager to help me deliver. And I said to the then president, you know, if this had been on social media, I feel that we would have more volunteers. I didn't even know this was a thing. I had no idea about it. I just got this Google document to sign up, a couple months ago, and then it keeps getting canceled because there aren't enough people, but nobody's promoting it anywhere. And she said, "Oh, would you like to be our communications chair?" I said, "Sure."
That's how that happens.
That's how that happened. So that I
P.T. Barnum, there's a sucker born every minute.
Yeah, so that exactly. Yeah, well, you're not far off with that. Yeah.
From experience, I know that.
Right. So I joined. We started promoting it. I think there has been one shelter meal that we had to cancel because the person who was responsible for organizing it got sick. But other than that, I don't think we've skipped a shelter meal, and that was 2 years ago. So I'm literally 2 posts, and I had 4 new volunteers. I mean, that was really all we needed. And now the program has morphed because of rules from the Oregon Food Bank, who donate to the shelters and what they require us to do and all this. But at every turn, we're agile. We're shifting.
Hey.
We're adjusting. We've got a business in the community that provides cooking space, and she does a group cook for one of the shelters and has people sign up on her website, and they come in. She puts together a menu. She procures all the ingredients. She teaches people how to make the food. And she's amazing. I mean, she really is amazing, but it's part of her business. And so she's got a kitchen there, and they deliver food to one shelter. And then for the other shelter, we have to cook in the shelter now. We've got a coordinator there who has her food prep license or whatever that is called. And she oversees the cooking by the volunteers, and people donate the food. And we fill in the gaps. Whatever food was not donated, we provide reimbursement to those 2 coordinators for buying the food. And we're now in the process of looking at potentially growing the program by getting some grants and providing more food and growing it. So
that sounds agile to me.
it's pretty agile.
It sounds almost like if you make it known that there are people in need, it seems like people are good and will come and meet that need.
People get such a sense of well-being from helping somebody, and it provides so many, on so many levels. It's just in general, it's nice to feel like you've done something nice, but then also there's that sense of community, especially when you're cooking together. Food is such a great way of bringing people together in general, right? Although that can be problematic in its own right, but generally speaking, and it's one of the underlying goals of this program before I was on board was to integrate the shelters in with the housed population, right? It was like we wanted, I guess I should say, because it was before my time, wanted to reduce the NIMBYism of, are you familiar with NIMBYism? Not in my backyard.
Oh.
Not in my, I don't want a shelter in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right? That's again and again. In fact, half of the meeting about the Buckman Deflection Center was folks saying, "Oh, I'm not sure we want this in our neighborhood," and for good reason. Sometimes, it's not an unreasonable thought, but we wanted to bring people together, and so it's like, well, if you're cooking food for somebody, it's far less likely that you're then going to turn around and be like, "Get out," So, so it's building community with the folks who are living in the shelters, building community amongst the volunteers, whole nine.
It sounds like that business owner you're working with is using it as an opportunity to teach people who need to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
Also how to cook.
So she provides, her business is like kitchenwares. It's Kitchen Culture PDX. This is also not an ad. I keep naming specific businesses. But she's got all this really cool like kitchenware, and she's got an entire set of the same dishes that my grandmother had, right? And it's a line that they produce that line from, like, she just told me the other day, like 43 to 2007 or something like that. That line. So the plates that she has are from different years, but they're all the same pattern. And she's got all the, the gravy bowl and the teacups and all the whole thing. It's very cool. And then she's got some new stuff. She's got some, just a great range of things. And then she does also put on cooking classes. Typically she brings in other cooks to do those, but like my mom and dad and I'm just going to say two of my aunts for simplicity, were here at Christmas time, and we did a pie baking class, and we all made apple pie, and it was fun. It's a great place. So she's letting us use that space at a time when she could be having a paid class.
Yeah.
So we're looking to adjust how we do that a little bit to make it more economically feasible for her to keep doing it, because it's such a huge value to the neighborhood that she's doing that. So
That's really cool.
So that's how I got involved with the Neighborhood Association.
That's fantastic.
And anytime I'm sorry, I have one more thing to say.
No, please.
Anytime that a challenge has been thrown our way, like when the Oregon Food Bank said you can't have food prepared at home served in the location or else we can't donate food. I don't understand why, but okay. Some folks were like, well, I guess, is that it? Are we done here? And I was like, whoa. No, there's got to be something. We had a couple of meetings, meet at a local pub, have a beer or a glass of wine. Let's talk about it. What can we do? What are some options? What are some thoughts? And we had a lot of great ideas, many of which were not implemented. And, maybe if we start this grant process and get a grant, we can actually do some of that stuff. We're talking about doing a cookout in the park that's sort of near one of the shelters, and it could be for everybody to come. And anyway,
communication and community. That's what I'm going to remember about you.
Yeah.
You're a commie.
Oh, I don't know. Am I? Maybe. Yeah. I do like community. We're human animals. I mean,
Yeah.
whether you think that the design was design or not, we are currently wired to engage with one another and support one another. It just life is just better when you're engaged in that kind of way. I think some people don't like it. Okay, I'm not going to force you to participate, but
Well, true, but loneliness, whether we realize it or not, it really messes
This is
with
a little
us.
tiny example of questionable relevance. But I live in a retirement community, Russellville Park, 102nd and Burnside, and we have to have 24-hour security because it's Hazelwood. It's not exactly. So security guards keep showing up, and it's one I hadn't seen before. And I said, "Hi, what's your name?" So I'm Joe. He said, and then the first thing he said to me was, "I've been here 5 weeks, and I love it here.
wow.
The residents are so cool, and they talk to me, and and I talk to them, and it makes things better, doesn't it?"
Yeah,
Yeah, it does.
it does.
But that's the second security person in a row who has not been prepared to come to an old folks' home and find loving, compassionate people. We live in a pretty unusual community in that regard, but so here's a working person who suddenly knows that kindness is it seems to be prominently displayed
Oh, my shirt.
on your shirt. Exactly where it belongs. It's the foundation of everything, frankly.
Yeah.
So this is a person who never had those thoughts before, in his 50s. So I think it goes to what you're saying. If people are offered an opportunity, and if they're not so traumatized they can't respond, we need to untraumatize them. These little spontaneous, it's like little healthy places that we want to grow into. Patty knows that one of my favorite words is necrotic. Necrotic flesh, which means dying, dead flesh. So if we think of society as a necrotic body,
Are we still recording?
Oh yeah, it's about to get real good.
But what I feel like is everything we do that's kind, everything we do that's healing is like a good germ that can spread. But Harriet Tubman, I always come back to Harriet Tubman, we set up people free, one soul at a time. That means you don't do it with a big program. Means you don't do it with a big, you can have those programs, but within it, you need that human connection that's missing. That 2 of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, bureaucracy, stripped from us because we replaced human problem solving with partially AI, but also with rules. So we don't figure out a situation, we apply a rule. I was denied access to a hearing aid that I had already paid for during COVID with my wife with dementia. I couldn't hear her. And I'd already paid for it. So I need my left hearing aid replaced. Well, you need to come in for a hearing test. I can't do that. There's COVID. My wife has COPD. I just need my hearing aid. I'm sorry, sir. It's against the law. We could lose our license. So I went 4 months not being able to hear my dying wife. It made me mad. It made me irritable. And it made me think, we don't know how our life is taken away from us by these structures because they seem to be invisible. And yet they start setting that. So that's also a part of the work. If we're able to engage the populace in this election and in doing that make connections between those who want to provide this service of governing and electorate, but also each other. And to have a healthy neighborhood association, I feel like is one of the biggest interventions of whatever you want. Mental health interventions, good neighborhood center. We had a belly dancing class, a family belly dancing class there. We had childcare. We had a tool library. All this stuff. Didn't cost a lot of money. Didn't, not complicated, not a lot of overhead. So we know it's possible. And you've seen it work, again, in your family, but also in this neighborhood association that you have tripped over and fallen into and realized it's where you needed to be because happily you could take all your skills, all the things you care about, and in some way engage them. And I believe if people are deprogrammed, to use a word that comes up from time to time, into passivity, it's how we lived for centuries in this country. Especially in the Depression and the War, working together, caring about each other, common good, common, everyone. So we have a lot of work to do. If this new form of government is successful, and if we get a majority on this council, the potential for change is endless. I love the word catalyst too. Necrotic, catalyst, 2 of my favorite words.
That's an interesting combination.
Necrotic is just such a great word.
It is a great word.
And the concept is also useful in certain circumstances. So that's the level of excitement that I feel, and I would love to be part of I have no idea who the neighborhood association this is. They certainly haven't been visible at all in this fairly significant community.
There's an east side, it's kind of like Southeast Uplift, like an organization that oversees all the neighborhood associations on the east side, and we were recently trying to reach out to, if you follow Holgate past 205, because they're talking about, not that this is the purpose of the thing, but they're talking about rezoning Holgate so that it'll have more safety features for pedestrians and stuff like that. They're going to have more buses and whatnot. Anyway, but we were trying to find the neighborhood association, and it was a little bit of a kerfuffle. We really had to figure it out and talk to a couple of people before we found the right place.
And in an ideal world, which I don't, and this may not even be a good idea, but I believe the neighborhood association organization has changed its name. I don't know what they call it now. Not the Office of Neighborhood Associations, but needs to provide leadership to these groups. Tough to figure out, but if we want to create a healthy network that supports this transformative election,
Right.
something like that needs to happen.
For sure.
Now, a very famous comedian who my father taught to rope, Will Rogers, said that the solution to the U-boat problem was to boil the ocean and it'd all come to the top.
Yeah.
I said, how are we supposed to do this? I said, well, that's your problem. I gave you the solution. So I'm really good at giving solutions. It's up to you to boil the ocean. But one of the frustrating things, if you live a long time and you get to do a lot of really interesting, important things that actually matter, you really want to be able to take that knowledge and reinvest it.
Right.
Seems to me if this form of government works, I'll have a place
Yeah.
to make that contribution.
Yeah.
It's really exciting.
It is exciting.
It's really exciting.
I'm really excited.
Yeah, obviously.
I can't help but see such a parallel with what you're doing on the more micro level with the neighborhood associations, and realizing what you want to do is go up a level of magnitude and see that same kind of close-knit community
exactly
happen throughout the city.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking cool here, Kelly.
Thank you, Patty. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
One of the exciting things about this campaign is the fact that it's not winner take all,
Right.
that people can actually work together. What a
Yes.
concept.
Oh my gosh.
And that you're building up a network of people who know each other, understand
Yeah.
what's important to them, who
Right.
they can trust.
Yeah.
So, like I say, win, lose, or draw, already this community has been pulled together in
Absolutely.
this process. And my experience is that there are sort of pivotal moments in which Portland Clean Energy Fund, that crew that came together is still a crew. They work together, trust each other.
Yeah.
It's just, if the election were lost, it would not be a loss.
Yeah.
It would be an incomplete win,
Right.
right? But we want
It just the experience of campaigning. I still want everyone to vote for me, but just the experience of campaigning.
I want everyone to vote for you too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been life altering. You know, as I started to stumble into this, because that's apparently how I enter into new things, I felt like I had finally found the thing I wanted to do when I grew up, right?
Aw.
I love the people I work with in my business. I like the people who work for me. I like my clients. There are some really just outstanding humans, you know. But the work itself, it's not like enriching in the way, like I always felt like there had to be something that I could be doing that would feel something, right? It's
fulfilling.
yeah, fulfilling, enriching, soul nourishing, right? And yeah, I really feel like this is sort of, I've came into the neighborhood association and it's like, wow, this feels really good. This feels like the stuff that I'm doing matters to me at such a foundational level. You know, I was a kid in the 70s and 80s and bought the line, hook, line, and sinker that, you know, like civil rights is done and, you know, the environment is important. Now we have Earth Day. Like, oh my goodness. I mean, there's so much to do. There's so much to do.
You know, we thought we'd get by with like the sale at Mervin's for that day, and that would like fix it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mervyn.
So here's what I want to here's what I want to say to you.
Okay.
It's difficult. I hang out with Lutherans now. It's a totally bizarre reality, but and my friend, who's a retired pastor, my best friend who lives here, we're hung up on the word not necrotic.
Yeah, okay.
Take a breath, it's okay. Incarnate,
Okay.
which is to take beliefs and faith and put them into your body.
Okay.
And I believe that this nonverbal communication of how we are in the world, how we treat each other, is more transformative than theory.
Yeah.
I have a little thing from Ramsey that says, theory is closed. That's the coffee shop. I love that. But what I'm saying is wherever you go, you're going to take this, radiant excitement about what you're doing, and you're going to be like an attractive nuisance. They're going to want to be like you. Don't
Did you just say
underestimate.
sorry before you called her radiant and attractive?
I know. I'm like, wait a minute.
This is my summed up knowledge of
Yeah.
in my ninth decade. People learn from people. Information is critical, but what they see, it's what someone said about Gandhi. He embodies people's radiant again. Here's the word: radiant hunger for becoming.
Right.
People want to be whole. People want to restore that connection that's been lost over the last decades.
Yeah.
You embody that, and do not underestimate the importance of that.
Thank you.
That's all.
Getting a little verklempt over here.
Yeah. That's what we do here. We speak truth to goodness. And you're the goodness, and we're telling you true things. See? That's how it works. That's the title.
That's lovely.
Yeah, and I can find myself doing it a lot
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's necessary. Truth to power is important, no question about it. But what fails to get recognized in this unfortunate historical moment is people's goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And every time you acknowledge that, it's amazing what the effect is.
Yeah.
It's a cheap trick. Costs nothing. But it's like kindness. It's just sort of a counterpart of kindness.
Right.
Without these things, we will not win. We will not succeed in recreating a viable society.
Yeah.
So, Patty knows it was right here during this show. I think I coined the new phrase, the fierce urgency of the long haul.
Mm-hmm.
Fierce urgency is now really clear.
Yeah.
But we have to do the work that you're doing in this transformation of city government to provide a basis for what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And as a systems person, you probably understand how all these things are connected. Thank you.
I mean, to some extent, yes.
Well, you know what? Because I'm out of control. You know more than you know.
Yeah, sure.
You know way more than you know. You are way more of a unnecrotic person than you think you are. No, that didn't.
Thriving?
That didn't.
Alive?
That never. It sometimes doesn't come out right.
Is this where we say, what's the line we say when we want to do that? Do it over?
Strike that. Did you just want to strike that for him?
No, I thought he was trying to strike it for him. I wasn't trying to strike it for him.
We have fun when we do this podcast. We're completely serious about what we do, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And grateful.
Yeah.
Grateful to be doing it, grateful for each other, grateful for you being here with us.
Yeah. Glad to hear that. It is lovely to be here. You guys have a really nice energy.
Thanks. So do you. If you just have one more thing that you want to leave the voters with, and especially how they can find out more about you, and we can call it a wrap.
Okay.
Okay.
I will say very quickly, one of my favorite books is Fifth Sacred Thing by Starhawk. And, I mean, talk about a hippie. I'm a hippie. It's a long book. I recommend it to people, and then it takes them literally years to read it because it's dense.
Okay.
But do you know the book?
No, I just know a little bit about Starhawk.
Oh, yeah.
One of my friends is one of her proteges, so
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, way cool. Very important figure. That whole eco-feminist thrust in the 80s, so important and foundational.
Yes.
Totally forgotten for the most part.
Right, yeah.
Still there.
Yeah, still there.
Still going on.
Yeah,
So,
still doing the work.
But so that's, to me, I mean, who kind of knows something about Starhawk, that's a big thing to even like you more for.
Good, I'm glad.
Really out of control, huh?
Yeah, that's Starhawk came to me. That book in particular came to me through a series of women passing the book on to a new friend, passing it on to a new friend. So now there's a whole circle
So
of us.
what about it do you think has inspired you or sort of changed how you look at things?
One thing that I really like about it is how they turned around what could have been a dystopian future and created such an eco-green, multicultural, like, I feel like it was really of a moment, right? I mean, when I was at Berkeley, I really felt like this might be what the world could turn into, and then I kind of grew up a little and was like, oh, that's going to take a lot of work. But here we are to do the work, so, you know. And it's I just loved the community that they built. Yeah, yep. The vision was great. And then I also, one thing that I think gets under discussed in the circles that I've talked about it with, there's a character who goes through this situation where it's like it's the second half of the book. I'm trying not to do spoilers, but he basically has to pretend that he has gone over to the other side, to the more structured, like, this is how things are going to be, and there's, you know, very rigid, and water costs money and all that stuff, right? So he had to pretend that he had gone on to that other side. It's a post-apocalyptic environment, and they force him into it in a way that his people that he grew up with in the eco village, I'll call it, they don't know that he's being forced into it. So they think he has voluntarily switched sides. And he persists for what appears to be like months and months and months of this, like a very public display of like, I'm on the other side, but he's not, and he's being tortured. And eventually it comes to light that he has been doing this. This has been his gift to his eco village of like, I'm preventing people over there from being harmed by taking on this role. It's this very self-sacrificial situation. Which is, I'm not offering to do that, but I'm just, but I found it very interesting how his core group of people perceived him to be doing the opposite of what he was doing, but he couldn't tell them because then that would negate his ability to do what he was trying to get done. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's so complicated. That's what I like about the book. In terms of how people can find me, I am on Instagram at KJ4PDX, and it's the number 4. And then my website is kj4pdx.com, number 4. And there's a button on the homepage to donate, or you can fill out the form on the homepage, and it gives you the opportunity to volunteer if you'd like to volunteer. Okay. In addition to or instead of donating.
Great.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a work in progress. Doesn't have all the info on there yet. But
isn't everything?
Everything is.
Yeah.
It really is, yeah. Life is a work in progress.
Yep. Humanity is a work in progress.
Yeah.
Did we do it? I think we did it.
I think we did it. Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much. This has been like really long conversation, but truly delightful.
Oh, thank you so much for coming and sharing all of that. I was delighted as well.
If I can vote for you, I will, and if I can't, I'll be grumpy. But whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't draw the lines of the damn thing.
Thank you for tuning in to Speaking Truth to Goodness. Today we had the pleasure of speaking with Kelly K.J. Janes, whose passion for community service and vision for Portland's future have left us both inspired and hopeful. KJ's approach to governance, emphasizing transparency, inclusivity, and effectiveness, promises a fresh perspective in City Council, aimed at genuinely looking after Portland's best interests. Her dedication to making Portland a safer, more vibrant place to live together resonates with the values we hold dear on this podcast. We hope this episode has given you a closer look at one of the many dedicated individuals striving to shape Portland's future. Remember to engage with our content by liking, commenting, and sharing this episode. Join us next time as we keep speaking truth to goodness, because goodness is all around.